Hey MaxLab team, I'm going to give you the 101 on TinkerCAD in case you need a refresher. This program is really fun and I think it's built for creativity because there's so many different shapes to explore. You have a drop-down menu here with lots of stuff in it that you'll learn a lot just by playing. I'm going to keep this brief. Up here is the cube that will help you move the work plane. The work plane is what you're working on, and you'll need to move it to line things up occasionally. Over here, everything solid, all of these shapes are forms that you could add to this space, and these with the stripes, the gray stripes, are ways to cut holes, such as windows or doors. So plus and minus are your zooms. They're also over here, but I like using on the keyboard better. So I've got my building, right? And maybe I don't want my building just to be a total rectangle, so I add other shapes to it. And adding shapes and extruding away space in the shapes is a big part of what makes this program really fun. So I'm going to add these two shapes, and you can use these numbers on the side to get a sense of if you want to get precise with your measurements, but I don't need to worry about precision right now, and I don't think we need to really worry about it with our design. It's more about the ideas in there than making it exactly perfect so we can 3D print it. So if you put a shape inside another shape like this, click on them both using the Shift button, and then come up here to Group. That will put them together. So already I have this interesting shape. So let's throw a door on, I'm going to do one here on this side. So I drag in another solid block, minus to unzoom, to zoom out. And you drag to get the shape that you want. So you've got your corners down here for access to two walls at a time. You've got these middle things at the bottom, and then this cone at the top lifts it in space. To undo, up here is the key, and I like to use Control-Z. So there's that to lift it, and then the one, I don't know what you call these. There's a name for this, but I don't know it. This little pointer thing is how you shrink and lift it. So by putting a shape on another shape and combining the two, Shift, click the other shape, I've got, so I didn't do a door. Okay, so I didn't do a door because I added a positive shape. Did you see that was happening before I did? I need to drag in the clear box, and that will allow me to cut out space. Whatever shape you want to do, I'm not going to worry too much about my shapes right now because I'm just trying to show you how to do it. So as long as it's jutting into this yellow building, and I click on both, up here, Group, same way I did add the cylinder to the square, I added this hole to the square. But you can see that it's like a weird doorway because there's nowhere to go. It's still a solid block. So I'm going to bring in another box. I already have one here. And I'm going to carve out. This is one of my favorite things to do in TinkerCAD, is just cutting holes in shapes. It's a lot of fun. So I raised it and I put it inside the building. Plus to zoom, and I'm just dragging this so that my walls are all even. So I don't want one wall to be twice as thick, and you can kind of tell this one is still a little bit, there we go, and the last one. Okay, so that leaves the same amount of space, and if you look here, you can see that it's not going down through the yellow building all the way. If I use This, I'll lift it. So if I want to stretch it, make it bigger, I have to use the one on top. So I can make it bigger and then grab the cone. And now I'm going underground. So that would cut away the floor. So I don't want to do that. So maybe I will leave it just a unit of 1. And I think that's listed. If you move it, it would be listed again. Anyway, zoom out, minus. So clicking on that, looks good. Shift, click on the other building that I want to cut a hole out of, and click group. So cool. So now you can see inside there. This is still solid and it's circular. So let's use the cylinder shape and cut the hole out of here. That looks pretty good. So I could leave like a platform if I wanted, you know, like if I only cut out this far, I've got this solid chunk. I wouldn't want it at the bottom though. So here's +1. If you go below that, it says negative. So +1, and I've got it sticking out so it'll carve out of the whole shape. Shift, click on the major building, and click group. So now I have this empty building, pretty cool. And so you could imagine like adding walls by making this really skinny, you know? And you can color them, you can join all of them together. You could get really creative with this stuff, like diagonal walls, you know, that come out of the floor. Who knows? Maybe our garden like is on a plane. I don't know why we would do that. Anyway, that's how you do that. So you can use the same door technique with windows just by your placement of them. Same concept, really. You know, here's just by lifting it up so it's off the ground. You decide on the shape, and maybe before I group it, I'm like, I like that size. So I copy and paste. And you can do that up here, I think. Yeah, and it tells you the hotkeys. So Control-C, Control-V, super useful with computer work. They're on the level with each other. Looks like the spacing is even too. So I'll do that, and I'm gonna make one more, and whoops, and I'm gonna shrink this one. Just for a little variety, you know? And it's moving it in the building, which I don't want it to do. So what do I need to do here? If I grab this corner, I want to make you smaller. Oh, okay. Undo. It's this feature. For a second, I was forgetting what it was. And I'm going to line it up on the top. Is that right? That looks right. Right. And I'm going to put it there. It looks a little small, but okay. This is so fun. Once you get started, okay, I'm not going to keep going. So click with Shift, you can select multiples, and then the major building and group. So that's it. I want to keep going. I showed you guys briefly this scribble tool. I think it's really cool for anybody that kind of likes drawing, which I love. Well, you can't get in there, so what's that for? Maybe it was like this. That'd be cool. And I don't know what this is for, but you know, here's the preview up here. Done. Okay. It's a swimming pool. I don't know what it is. It's a garden, a maze, a labyrinthine garden. And you can spin this thing. You're like, the world is your oyster with this program. I think it looks cool, but I'm going to delete it. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. I think that's all I'm going to share. If you ever want to make your grid bigger because you start running out of room, down here, edit grid, and then you can change these parameters. Like I just want to add another 100 units to the length and width. So that's it. Minus, minus. Look at this space. Gosh, it's your space. Do whatever you want with it. Play with it. Have fun. And there's one other thing I want to show you, which is how to build multiple stories or stack objects. This is also pretty cool. So our work plane is here right now, and we can move the work plane. So if you click on work plane, it starts to register different planes. So you could build off of the side of this wall if you clicked here. Use the cone, the pointy part of the cone, to show you which way is pointing up. So we could build on the ground here. And we can even build on the roof of this to build a second story if we hover over the wall, the top of the walls. So you click on that, now the plane has shifted. And if I were to drag a shape over, that shape is actually just as tall as the second floor is. So now I can stack things on top. That's kind of it. You know, same process for cutting away. Don't cut through the whole thing if you want to keep the floor and have multiple levels. And let me know if you have any questions or email the group and we'll talk soon. All right, bye.